Thursday, March the 16th. Germans split Rover. Dirty bastards! Beckham gets book deal. Mr. Bump half price. Macca gets new girl. Will he go down on one knee? Please welcome the man with both feet on the ground, Mr. Iain Lee.
Brilliant. Hello and welcome to the start of the 11 o'clock show. Yes, Paul McCartney has found love with gorgeous 32-year-old model Heather Mills. It's the happiest he's been since he started eating steak again. I'm not going to attempt a McCartney impression. There it is. I can do a Lennon, though, and earlier this year, I even had a stab at George Harrison. I got arrested. And Macca and Mills are now saying they want a bit of privacy. I totally agree. What is it about a living rock legend shagging a one-legged blonde model that everyone finds so fascinating? I don't know. It's got me stumped. McCartney should start acting his age, I think, like Christian Crusty Cliff Richard. He's just waiting for the second coming. Apparently, the first coming was with Una Stubbs. With old rockers snapping up all the totty, what hope is there for youngsters like me? Well, I've seen a gap in the market and it's as a toy boy. So if you're watching Bonnie Tyler, come and get me. You're just like Rod Stewart, but with knockers. Amazing. And Bonnie, I'm actually packing an extra leg myself. It's me hard cock. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the girl who always rocks my world, Miss Daisy Donovan. The man.
Thank you, hello. Now, all over the papers today, there are these new internet millionaires suffering from sudden wealth syndrome. When they get bored of screwing and shopping for yachts, they get depressed and wish they had a proper job. They should understand what it's like for the rest of us. The only way we're going to get sudden wealth is by taking Brazilian nationality and getting banged up by Mick Jagger. Come on, Mick. Now, that would be depressing, to ride that old cockerel.
Daisy, leave rubber lips alone and tell us what's coming up in tonight's hilarious show.
Coming up, Royal Watcher James Whittaker gives us the latest juice on the Royals. We're joined live in the studio by the Wizard of Oz, Jason Donovan. And as for me, I'll be giving market researchers tips on how to stop people in the street. But now it's time for the headlines.
Tonight's top stories.
With the announcement that pig organs will be used in human transplants, patients are being warned about possible side effects, including eczema or, as it's commonly known, pork scratching.
Organs available to patients will include pigs' hearts, livers, lungs and, subject to availability, jumbo sausages. There
was shock today at the news of the latest drugs craze to sweep America. Addicts now get their highs by sucking the plaque from dogs' teeth.
Speaking about their separation, Vanessa Feltz's husband said he would have left earlier, but it was only when she lost weight that he was able to break out of her gravitational fields.
Revelations about his finances, Ken Livingstone defends how much he charges to give piggybacks to council kids.
It started out about £1,500 and it's gone up to about £2,500.
David Beckham has signed a six-figure deal to write his autobiography. A ghostwriter will be hired, but David insists he'll be heavily involved at the colouring-in stage.
There was jubilation in Grozny yesterday as Chechen soldiers finally got to hear the latest sounds from America.
Now I gotta cut loose,
As debate about Section 28 continues, evidence comes to light of some schools already promoting gayer lessons, as this economics class shows.
And those are tonight's headlines.
A scientific study has revealed that half the Arctic ice cap has melted since the 1960s. Well, we wanted to get an on-the-spot analysis by a top expert.
Unfortunately, the only man out there is Joshua Barclay Smythe, student traveller and undergraduate ambassador to Southeast Asia. Joshua, what are the conditions like up there in the Arctic Circle?
Well, it's not nearly as chilly as I'd expected, and that's thanks to all of us and our selfish, middle-class attitudes about the ozone layer. It's not nearly as cold as it used to be.
What about the ice caps, Joshua?
Well, you know, the sad truth is that the polar ice cap is disappearing as we speak. You know, an area the size of Denmark melts every 2 years. And, I mean, where would we be without Denmark? You know, there'd be no Lego.
But is there anything... Sorry, Joshua, is there anything viewers at home can do?
Yes, there is. You know, it's down to us in the West to get rid of the extra water. Go and turn on a tap, fill up your ice trays, send your ice back to the pole where it belongs. You know, I'm doing my bit. I've brought all my own bottled water with me. If there's one thing I learned in India last year, it's don't drink the local water. Still, I always say you haven't travelled until you've had amoebic dysentery.
Thank you, Joshua. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, it wasn't until I'd squatted over a tiny hole in the ground firing pint after pint of boiling hot, shitty magma down the back of my legs that I found the real me.
Thank you, Joshua. The government announced today that schools will have a statutory responsibility to encourage teenagers to abstain from sexual activity. Here's Ricky Gervais with his report.
The government today announced new guidelines for sex education classes in schools in an attempt to clarify what is and what isn't acceptable. They're keen to avoid a repeat of the outrage caused a few years ago when many schools were thought to be promoting homosexuality. Do you remember that book? Jenny Lives with Eric and Martin. It's about a girl living with her two gay dads. My teacher, Mr. Morris, brought back a very similar video from Amsterdam. Didn't have the girl involved, though. Teachers in our school, though, I don't know if they were, like, embarrassed or just lazy. They wouldn't tell us about it themselves. They just put on one of those little films. I mean, I didn't learn anything from that because of all the giggling at the naked man with a long beard. Weird teacher, Mr. Grant. But he liked doing lessons in the nude. That's up to him. And he'd never bother with all this, oh, and when you meet someone you love and how to woo a lady. No, he'd cut straight to, be honest, boys, at the end of the day, you wouldn't want that up 'em. Am I wrong? And he'd always talk in, like, analogy and euphemism. He'd say, when it's Christmas, say, boys, and your gift sacks are a little bit full, and you're tired of your old toy, Harry the Five-Legged Spider, well, it's time to jump on the banana boat to Grimsby Harbour. And we go, what? He'd go, well, when you smuggle in your single-barreled pump-action yoghurt rifle to Anchovy Bay, yeah, a fish supper's nice covered in daddy's sauce, but remember, either keep the safety catch on or aim high. You go, sir, what are you talking about? Yeah. When you're tired of wanking, you actually get to shag a bird, wear a Johnny, or give her a pearl necklace. A pearl oh, God. Come on her tits, you digs. And he'd always end with, oh, and don't be queer, it's dirty. Well, it's time to change now. This is Ricky Gervais for the 11 o'clock show, London.
More from the filthy Ricky Gervais later on. But first, royal rumours are once again rife this weekend as the Queen jets off to Australia. To separate fact from fiction, please welcome our royal correspondent, James Whittaker. Thanks for coming along, James. Nice to have you again. Good to have you back. Now, let's get straight down to it. The Queen and Duke of Edinburgh are going on a state visit to Australia this weekend. Is there any truth in the rumours that last time she was in Australia, people tried to poison her and the corgis?
I love it.
Sorry, what? I always thought you were on the side of the royal family, but now...
I mean, what I love is the fact that even the Queen could get away with our quarantine rules, and of course she can't. She'd take the corgis every time if she could. I mean, I think she gets a lot more...
that, maybe. Just rephrase that slightly.
Well, I'm talking about a female, not a male. But I think she gets a lot more pleasure out of her dogs than she does out of most members of her family, actually. So I think she'd be happy with that.
I get a lot of pleasure out of my dog, actually. Got to squeeze quite hard, but eventually. Now...
Oh, God.
I'm embarrassed I said that in front of you. My mum would tell me off.
That's terrible.
Now...
Look,
well, let's get on with this.
We are talking about our head of state. You do realise that.
I'm talking about some sort of head, but not... Please, can we move on? I will get shot. She's going with Prince Philip will be in Australia there with her.
Yes.
Can we trust him not to embarrass us again?
No, we can't. I mean, he is appalling, and I tell you, the Queen really gets fed up with him. That business in China, you remember the slitty eyes business you talked about? I tell you, the Queen didn't speak to him for 3 days. I don't know whether he found that helpful or not, but she was furious.
You followed the royal family around the world. What's the most outrageous thing you've seen?
And I suppose Fergie having her toes sucked by the old Johnny Bryan.
You were
I was actually there and saw this happen,
What was going on?
It was extraordinary. Well, she was lying back on a sun deck in a villa in the south of France, near Saint-Tropez, and there was Johnny Bryan leaning over, sucking her toes. It was her toes. Right. I know a lot... other things were suggested, but not true.
You weren't tempted to crack one off, were you?
I was there in very professional circumstances.
OK, now, Trevor Rees-Jones has contradicted Al Fayed about Di and Dodie getting engaged. What's the truth? What was happening?
Well, no, of course they weren't engaged. I mean, she was very much in love, although I think it was more in lust. But no, there was never going to be
They weren't engaged. OK.
You know.
Is it true that James Hewitt reenacted Diana's death crash when he was drunk?
I mean, the guy is incredible.
What?
Even when he tries to commit suicide, he doesn't pull it off, does he? He fails in everything he does.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, James Whittaker. Thank you very much, James. Nice to have you back. A new survey has revealed that 6 out of 7 people don't stop for surveys. The question is, did they really need a survey to tell them that? Well, yes, they did. Otherwise, 6 out of 7 people would not have been stopping for no reason. You see? No. That's why we sent Daisy to find out more on the streets of London.
An epidemic of clipboard fatigue has broken out in Britain, with a report out this week that 6 out of 7 people will not talk to market researchers on the street. I've come here to London, home of the market, to research. Do you get annoyed when market researchers approach you and ask you annoying questions?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Is that A, slightly annoyed, B, very annoyed, or C, fucking furious?
Slightly annoyed.
Well, what would make you answer a market researcher's questions? What if I was to do this for each question? Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
I'm not at all impressed by the way.
Now, can I just do a demographic on you? Yeah. OK, so female. Single, obviously. No. Really not.
Single?
Yeah.
No. Oh. I wonder why you thought that.
I don't know. So it appears that market researchers will face extinction unless they change tactics. I've come back to London to try some new techniques. Would you like to answer the following questions? Yes, you, with a nice hairstyle. Do you clean your fridge once, 6 or no times a year? Never. You never clean your fridge? No. Please, can you help me? Please. I've got market research questions.
Research question?
Yes.
I thought you were crying, begging or something.
No, I wanted questions. Which do you prefer, crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Neither.
Excuse me, doing some market research. Doing some market research?
Yeah.
Do you prefer crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Crunchy.
Hello? Oh. Could you ask me some... Can I ask some market research questions, please? So there you have it. Market researchers really do have a difficult job. So if you see one, don't just walk by like this.
Very rude young lady. Yeah. Well, that's the end of part 1. Still to come in part 2, 80s soap god Jason Donovan.
And straight after the break, classic clips of greasy helmets gangbanging. Don't miss it.
...1964, and the country is overrun by rival British gangs with different fashion emphases. Some like scooters, others don't. It's that simple. And once again, who gets caught in the middle? That's right, Clacton Bowls Club. Those poor bastards always get it in the neck.
Rockers there back in 1964, and that fighting was the inspiration for one classic movie, Police Academy 7, Mission to Margate.
Love it. Welcome back to the 11 o'clock show on Thursday the 16th of March.
Coming up, Jason Donovan will be proving that good neighbours become good friends. But first, it's time for another look at tonight's headlines. Injecting shampoo is the new drug craze. Street name, Smack Head and Shoulders.
Pupils to be discouraged from having sex. Teachers say, that bell ends for me, not you.
20,000 homing pigeons disappear, 4 and 20 of them found in John Prescott pie.
Some people are born to greatness, some people achieve greatness, and some people gate-crash their parties and just annoy the fuck out of them.
Peter Piper is one of those people. Take a look.
All right, me old cockers. I'm Peter Piper from Portsmouth, and I know a thing or two about women. So I'm just going to go and see if I can find some and have a little chat with them. I used to nearly did a bit of modelling myself.
You did?
Yeah, a little while ago, yeah. Yeah, because, you know Calvin Klein? Mm-hmm. He once said that I was the most beautiful man he'd ever met.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he didn't give you any award, right?
No, well, Well, he wanted me to be the male equivalent of Kate Moss. What got you into acting and all that in the first place?
I don't know, I just enjoyed it. I think I was a bit hyperactive as a child.
What about when you were a kid? Did you have any actors and actresses that you admired particularly?
I was just obsessed with Madonna, always obsessed with Madonna.
Oh, really? Funny enough, I actually saw Marlon Brando quite a few years ago.
Did you?
Yeah. Like again in Portsmouth. He was researching some film he was in, I can't remember exactly what it was. And he was actually my local. Like a place called Crab and Lobster. Yeah, I don't know if you know it.
No.
I walked in and I went straight up to him and I said, "Oi, Marlon," I said, "I don't know what I'm saying." I said, "But you've got a bit of a paunch on you, my old mate." And he said,
he
said, as a matter of fact, I do mind you saying so. He said, "I want you to show me some respect." And he did that voice that he does. "I want you to show me some respect," like that. I said, "Listen, Marlon, I'll give you respect when you deserve it." I said, "Look, you're overweight, you're overpaid, and quite frankly, you're long overdue a smack in the mouth like that." But he had to hold his hands up.
Yeah.
He said, "Fair play to you, Peter." He said, "You're absolutely right." He said, "I've completely let myself go."
Right.
Yeah, he said to me, he said, "You should be the film star." I said, "Not me." He said, "I'll sort it out for you if you like." He said, "I'll put the word around." He said, "You know, you can become like the biggest film star in the world." And I said, "I would, Marlon." I said, "But to be perfectly honest with you, I can't be bothered."
Daisy, get off and just tell us about tonight's guest.
OK. In the 80s, he was everyone's favourite mullet as the good-looking boy next door. He left Kylie and Ramsey Street for Queensland, but that was no reason for the Face to call him a bender, and he successfully sued. He then found God as Joseph and tight knickers in the Rocky Horror Show. Please welcome Jason Donovan.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You were an 80s icon who survived Madge Bishop, the mullet and the coat of many colours. We'd like you to take us through your career paths and faux pas, if that's all right.
Well, I'm Bros as well,
and
actually.
You weren't in Bros, were you?
No, I survived Bros.
Oh, you survived? Oh, well,
and their bodyguards.
Calm down, Jason. I saw you in concert at Hammersmith Odeon when I was 16. Let's go back to where it all started. The year is 1986. The man is Jason Donovan, soap star.
Oh, my
Is it true you left Neighbours because you missed Kylie and were jealous of her pop success?
I was totally jealous,
Were you?
at the time. Well, it sort of inspired my own sort of musical career at the time. It made me really get off my arse. When your girlfriend's getting a #1 and you're not, it can be quite threatening.
Well, let's have a look. The year is now 1988. The man is Jason Donovan, the pop star. Now,
that outfit is the worst.
I got my haircut like that.
Really?
I actually had that haircut because I thought it was really cool. I took in a picture of Jason and said, "Could you do my hair like this?" It looked ridiculous on me.
I've got no hair anymore.
I know.
Hopefully the same won't happen to you.
I'm not going to copy that one.
No.
Now, when you were 21, you'd sold 15 million records and were the biggest recording artist in Europe. Is being that massive all it's cracked up to be?
Not really. I mean, I come from a family, I guess, that have been involved in the business for a long time. I've had shortfalls. My father is an actor and, you know, isn't in work at the moment. You know, I'm a lucky person, I guess. I followed my dreams and they came true. That's a weird one, too.
Jason, I want to ask you this, because girls were passing out every 12 seconds at your concerts, and that's a fact. You were voted Smash Hits Most Fanciable Male. Did you ever take advantage of that adoration? 12-year-old girl passed out, think about it.
No, absolutely. I couldn't really get into anybody. I'm about to become a father.
You couldn't get into anybody?
I'm about to become a father, so that's sort of impending in my life in the next week.
There must have been groupies and stuff. You must have...
Yeah, you know.
That was tempting.
Well, look,
Lots of girls
tempting.
around you.
Yeah, I mean, I had some
tops.
good girlfriends there at the time. Loyalty, yeah, you know.
What was the most number of girls you had at one time?
Oh, my God, don't ask me.
All right.
I mean, I love your work, but that's above the line, you know.
There are a lot of rumours about you and Kylie. You mentioned her as your girlfriend. Were you going out with her?
Yes.
For how long did you go out with her?
4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, Kylie said Michael Hutchins taught her sex. What did you teach her? Because you went out with her before.
I don't know. What did
Nothing.
I teach it? Nothing.
Something.
Yeah, something.
OK, well, you say the year is 2000. The man is now Jason Donovan, transvestite.
Right.
Looking like Kiss there. Gene Simmons, I like it. Now, you've been in the Rocky Horror Show. You play a transvestite in your next film, Sorted, as well. What is it about women's clothes that you love so much?
I actually think maybe this is where this whole gay rumour came from, you know. There is a masculine out there that can be quite feminine these days.
Is that
and I feel quite comfortable, sort of, you know.
Have
And also I was surrounded by gay people as growing up. My my mother was in the modelling business and my father's in acting, and it's lovey-darling, and da-da-da-da. So I feel very comfortable dressing up.
Are you wearing anything underneath that now? Of a feminine nature?
Absolutely nothing.
Are you going commando styling? Let's have a look.
We've looked at the highs and lows of your career to date. You've always been a headline maker, so what can we expect to read about you in the future? Well, we just hope it's not something like this. Jason Donovan, scientists grow organs for transplants on Aussie snakes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Donovan.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. Earlier on in the show, Ricky Gervais reported on the continuing debate over sex education in schools. We can now luckily go over live for the latest. Ricky, do you think the government got it right with their sex education policy?
Yeah, but you have got to be careful what you tell kids. I'll tell you what, the thickest kid in my class was Stephen Flint, and after our first lesson about the birds and the bees, there wasn't a day he didn't come in with either peck marks on his bollocks or stings on his cock, right? He was really thick. And his brother was even thicker. This is a true story. His brother went to Casualty with a bottle of ketchup stuck up his arse, yeah? And this is the excuse he gave to the doctor. He said he'd come home with his shopping, and he put them on the doorstep, and he realised he'd forgotten his keys. So he climbed up the drain pipe, and as he was up there, his trousers and his pants fell down, and he had to let go and fall, and of course the bottle went straight up his arse, right? He said that, and the doctor said that would be somewhat more believable if supermarkets sold ketchup with condoms already attached.
Right, we'll leave it there, Ricky. Thanks very much.
True. Now listen, one thing I want to... He did put a condom on it, but why? Was it to save himself from infection, or was it because he wanted to put it back in the cupboard and let his dad sort of smack it onto his chin?
We're actually going to stop it there, Gervais. Please don't come back.
You've had your fair share of daddy's sauce inside you, ponce.
We've got to get inside.
They say that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But what if it's a box of just Brazils, Iain?
Daisy, But the world of news is less predictable than a collection of chocolate-covered nuts. So let's find out who's going, nice chocolates, and who's going, horrible chocolates, in this week's Good News, Bad News.
Good news.
Researchers have given a pig a computer to play games on. Bad news.
They've also slit a 14-year-old boy's throat and hung his head in a butcher's window.
Good news.
The man who controls Sooty has insured his hand for £5 million. Bad news.
Rod Hull left Emu penniless.
Good news.
Doctors have discovered a pill that eradicates PMT. Bad news.
It's shaped like a pillow and you have to hold it over your wife's face for an hour before it takes effect.
Bad news.
For Denise Van Outen, who had to simulate oral sex on a cucumber in her new film. Good news.
For JK, when she got home and tossed him off in a salad.
Good news.
Scientists have discovered that measuring the length of a child's ring finger can predict whether it will be a musical genius or not. Bad news.
They got the information from Gary Glitter.
Bad news.
It's been revealed that one of the Welsh rugby team isn't actually Welsh. Good news.
At least there's some fucking brains in the operation now.
Good news.
An opera based on the life of Princess Di has opened in Germany. Bad news.
It ain't over till the thin lady screams.
Good news.
To avoid unfortunate confusion on the internet, Philadelphia's Beaver College is to change its name. Bad news.
It'll now be known as Cat Flaps High.
And that was this week's Good News, Bad News.
Oh, I can't get enough of this.
Oh, that's delicious water, that is. Sadly, that's it for tonight.
But before we go, the showbiz world was shocked today as Richard Gere's new girlfriend took to the catwalk.
We leave you tonight with Ricky Gervais as he poses some everyday moral dilemmas to members of the public. Good night.
Good night.
Which one of these, if you had to do one of these things, what would you rather do? Do 3 months in Wormwood Scrubs, kick a puppy to death, or let your mum catch you wanking?
Oh, definitely 3 months in Wormwood Scrubs.
Really?
Scrubs, yeah.
Okay.
All that testosterone.
Okay. Would you rather snog Jimmy Somerville, volunteer to check your dad for genital warts, or persuade your mum to have breast implants?
Oh, check my dad for anal warts. He's quite muscular.
See, I said genital warts, and you specifically went for anal warts. They could be anywhere. They could be testicular, or they could be on the end of his cock.
They could, but knowing my dad, they'd be in his arse.